Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're here with the Broke Capitalist. I want to thank you for being here. Ask you to like, share, and subscribe. I know you could have been doing something else, like working on your 1967 Chevelle or robbing a bank. But you're here with me, and I want to tell you a scary story. Now, out there somewhere in the universe, there's a stadium full of people, hundreds of thousands of people, and they're all chanting, right? And the majority of the chant is, make the hard left, make the hard left. But you hear sprinkled in that crowd, go straight, veer to the right, go straight. And in the middle of the stadium, there's this car, and there's a driver, and there's a passenger. And in the trunk of that car is purchasing power and standard of living. And it's represented by like this briefcase, and you open the briefcase and like shimmer of gold maybe comes out of that, right? It's in the trunk, right? And you hear, make the hard left, make the hard left. Then you hear whistle, whatever. And then the car takes off. We're going to stop it there. And I want to talk about why people were chanting, make the hard left. Okay. Well, before they got to the stadium, commentators, because, you know, they've been gearing up for this event, watching it and stuff, and watching previews of what's going to happen. And before the game, they listen to all these commentators who have been feeding them a bunch of false stuff, basically a false narrative that shaped the reality, that shaped their reality. A reality where they believed that everything to the right was evil. Now, wow, how did these commentators do that? Well, they fed them a bunch of misleading information and blatant lies constantly before the event. Lies like, or misleading information and lies like the 1619 Project, white fragility. They promoted this stuff. You see it all the time. And then for generations, even before that, they would tell like Black people that the worst type of Black person you could be is Uncle Tom. And for those who haven't read the book, and for those who won't be able to read the book because it's probably unacceptable reading in this reality, let me tell you briefly about Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was a slave who sacrificed himself several times for the benefit of other slaves to his detriment in the story. But in this reality, that's the worst type of Black person you could be. So while this fake reality was being created, the people in the stadium didn't notice something. And for those who did notice, they were told, it's not that important, don't worry about it. Everybody's attention was kept on things like, I don't know, P-tapes. Okay. So what was it that these people in the stadium didn't notice? Well, let me tell you. They didn't notice something very important. They didn't notice that in this reality, words, the definition of words got changed. One important word to everybody in the stadium is inflation. What does it mean in today's reality? Well, here, Google says a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money. But in another reality, let's say the reality of 1996 out of a Webster's dictionary, inflation is an increase in the volume of money and credit relative to available goods and services, resulting in a continuing rise in the general price level. But in today's reality, we see a general increase in prices, not money. Why is this important? Why is this more important than P-tapes? Because when the money supply is increased, the purchasing power of everybody in that stadium slowly dies. It's not instantaneous. It's a slow death. But the commentators, you know, they're basically telling everybody not to worry about the tide that just suddenly went out after an earthquake. They just said, hey, concentrate on that guy next to your wife. You know, that shady guy right there. Concentrate on him. And when you're not concentrating on him, think about those P tapes. And then when the water comes in slowly after going out after the earthquake, and it starts to come in a little slow, and it's covering your toes, what do they say? Oh, don't worry about that. Right? Keep your eye on that shady guy next to your wife. And remember those P tapes. What they're telling you to ignore is a tsunami, right? And here's inflation. Here's inflation. This is inflation. As of 1996, this is inflation. 23% of all US dollars were created in the last year. Hopefully you guys can see this chart. Been having problems with this thing recently. But according to 1996 reality, an increase in the volume of money is inflation. But they're telling us, it's nothing to see here. Just worry about the P tapes, right? I mean, seriously. So, you know, what we have here is a real problem for everybody involved in that stadium. And what makes it worse, because our current money is a fiat currency, meaning you can create it out of thin air, it's not backed by anything. You can consider that a small tsunami. The one that'll wipe out a country, a tsunami that's just devastating and done, it is over, is a digital dollar. Bill S.3571 coming at you. This calls for a digital dollar, y'all. And so with the digital dollar, what's the difference between the digital dollar and your paper dollar? Well, a digital dollar has the potential to be traced, approved, and denied. So let's say the government passes a law that says, oh, the air quality in California is too bad, and you can only own one 67 Chevette. How will you buy two with a digital dollar? Now let's go back to the stadium where we got all these people cheering, make the hard left. And the car takes off and it's going through the tunnel, and you see the guy in the steering wheel trying to stay straight, and he gets out of the tunnel. Well, right before he gets out of the tunnel, on the projectors, you see the dude on the left injects himself with something. It's like a human growth hormone or something. Gets this super strength. He's cheered on by the crowd. He gets all pumped up. He grabs the steering wheel. And as they exit the stadium, now outside you got cameras there too, so you can see him outside the camera. You see him wrestling for the steering wheel. He's too strong. He got the growth hormone or whatever in him. He gets control of that steering wheel. He makes the hard left and takes the car, our purchasing power, and our standard of living right off a cliff. I hope y'all followed that. I hope you got something out of that. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.